Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm not sure why my video is titled XRP Crashes, because I did not write that. Really strange. I just edited it. But anyways, how you guys doing? We got Tom Struct, Tamale saying let us go, yeah. JK Meadows, love the Space Explorer art. Thanks, man. Alright. Now we need to Bitcoin to go down for that short. Yeah, I'll go over Bitcoin's price action, and then we can go over any asset you guys want to go over, or any questions you guys might want to go over in regards to like trading and stuff. But anyways, so this is what I'm looking at right now for Bitcoin. We have, let me just double check to make sure that my audio is actually working. Okay, it is working. Okay. But yeah, so the range that we've got going on right now. So since we dropped and lost this macro point of control, we started like developing a range as the point of control being the resistance of it. And we have this basically this local value area where we've had pretty decent setups throughout the week. The start, when we established the value area, we had a short to the value area low, which worked out really well. And then we longed after we broke we kind of consolidated against the value area low support zone, and we built this basically established this as the primary point of control after we'd ranged here for so long, and we had that move to the upper side of the value area and kind of rotated to the extreme highs. And now we got a potential short setup. We've got basically we hit the value area high in confluence with the 50-day EMA right here. And we lost the momentum. We got to change a character. But the risk to reward ratio wasn't really there after we got the confirmation. So in a situation like that, even though it's like fairly common for us to have a pullback after a change of character, we could use that information to kind of give you an edge in knowing like, okay, if we were to have a pullback, where would I wait for a confirmation for the continuation on the way down? And we had that we have a zone right here that I'm watching that's between the golden pocket and the 786. And I established this pull the moment we had an internal change of character. So we have price action coming down through here, and we broke this level right here. So we had an internal change of character in the lower time frames. So that allows us to use this high and this low for a Fibonacci pull to give us this zone. And we have a 1 hour 200 EMA in confluence with that zone. So I'm going to see if we get it might happen during this live, because I should be able to be live for an hour and a half. So I'm hoping that we'll have price action come up during our live here, and we'll get like an internal change of character, establishing this as a form of resistance to kind of give us a better entry for the confirmation that we were likely going to come down when we broke this 15-minute level. So this is kind of like the pullback zone that I'm preparing for, because if we were to jump in like here during the break of the change of character on the 15-minute, we barely had like a 1 to 2 using this strong high as our stop loss guard. So if we try to get our entry around here, let's say we get our change of character internally around here, and we start dropping down, we should have like roughly around a 1 to 4.5 roughly, with the same target, just different entry. So that's what I'm waiting for. So I'm hoping we get that entry during the live, so we can kind of all jump in together, and I can show you guys how to manage my risk on it. But what we got in the chat. So if we look at, let's see who gets Kyle to 10K first. Oh, see who gets to 10K first, Kyle or Alex. I would have to do, yeah, he's put the pedal to the metal with his channel. So I would have to put a lot more time into lives for sure in order to get caught up to him. I think he just passed me in subscribers. Let's look at that together. So we got a YouTube. Let's check him out. Alexo Crypto. Yeah, 7.27K. Nice. Yeah, I was winning the race for a little bit, but then he just like sprinted past me. He's doing great. What we got? Can we do TA on TIA? Yeah, we could do that. You can do that. So let me set an alarm on Bitcoin's price action here. I want to get alerted from the moment we start crossing into the golden pocket, so I don't miss out on anything. Let's do only once. Bitcoin potential short. That's the message, my bad. Change the format on us. All right, cool. So now I'll be notified on the 15 when a 15-minute candle just taps this level. It might happen sooner than we think. That way we can just look at the chart when it's actually appropriate. The one thing that makes me hesitant on thinking that we might get the reaction that we want is just the fact that we have over like $200 million worth of liquidity above this high right here. So if you're thinking like a market maker and you're looking at where the money is at, most of the weighted money inside this local range, since this range has started, is right here. And I was able to validate that through liquidity heat map charts. So I'm using CoinGlass, it's free. And on this chart, we can see ever since we had that harsh rejection there, a large amount of liquidity was added to the market in the form of shorts. So this is where people get liquidated for using high leverage and stop losses. All that stuff is all like hovering around this location. We came down recently and grabbed a larger amount of liquidity that was below us, but now most of the weighted liquidity is above us. So we might not get the bearish reaction that we want in this zone. We might actually just have a continuation and grab that before coming down. And if that's used as exit liquidity, then we're going to have a drop right back down to this range. If that liquidity is used as buy side liquidity, then we're just going to see it end up resulting in a pump, and we'll have structure that will help define that. So if we have like a break of structure up here for a continuation, then we have our answer that we're most likely going to see it go to the upside, and then we'll use the measurable based target from this double bottom structure and have our answer on where it's likely going to go. And you can also use liquidity as a cool edge for like locations like this to see where we can also see exits in the market. But we have this downtrending resistance right here. So if we broke this level, we might get halted around this location and come back down, which is also like the macro value area high in confluence with that downtrending point of interest. So we have reasons to go up, but internally we also have reasons to go down first. So we'll just, when A happens, we'll do A. If B happens, we'll do B. Okay. So let's look at the TA requests now. So Oliver was the first person. We got a request for virtual. I believe we have a virtual chart now. So I'll just look at. No, we don't. Okay. So we'll just look up virtual separately. MEXC, I believe, is the one that has most of the data. Zoom out. Just getting rid of some of the noise here. There we go. And I'll get rid of this too. Let's grab this momentum. So this is the broad momentum here. This is the, basically we had a head and shoulders. I'm looking at the 4 hour right now. We had a recent head and shoulders on virtual, and it gave us the measurable target of, let's see, 112. We came down and hit that target recently. And yeah, this is kind of like the confirmation to the level. We had a confirmation here where we came up, retested, and they got the lower low, stop loss here, and then kind of dropped, hit the previous value area high, used it as support, had a really aggressive bounce, and then rejected off the same level and confirmed to go lower here. And now we are seeing the previous value area, this little demand zone here, acting as a form of resistance. And what we want to see for virtual, because if we don't recover soon, it's going to drop really hard to around 63 cents. What we want to see is us to confirm this level as a form of support. We have a little bit of deviation from this value area, which can provide insanely good long opportunities, but you want to make sure that you're not getting in thinking that you've got the bottom when really you are just getting a lower price before it drops even further. So we have this core level that needs to be broken right here at 128.159. So this next neckline needs to be broken and have active support, so we can validate a continuation at least to this supply concern right here, where we might get a rejection again, but it's a good start to potentially prepare us to get a reversal and meet this downtrending momentum again. Let's see, go to the 15-minute for virtual, see what we got for price action. So kind of similar to Bitcoin, we have a range where you can pull our value area from. Right here. And right now it's coiling up. It's got a pennant structure being built against the value area high as resistance to help define that the potential continuation. But this is like a high risk SFP zone right here. So we might see a liquidity grab after breaking this pennant, hitting that and then reversing. So just watch out for that. But overall, we want to see higher time frame breaks, like the 4-hour full body close above that neckline. If we don't get that, then we're likely going to see just a quick liquidity grab and right back down. And then you can start targeting the value area low again, which is a pretty, percentage-wise, this is pretty big. This is 20% range. It doesn't look like it looking at the 15-minute, but it's a low market cap asset. So low market cap tends to give you crazy high percentage stop losses and percentage moves. So this is the momentum I would watch right here. And the current point of interest that needs to be broken is technically here. But that level might change if we get a break up here. It might be somewhere around here. So when that breaks, then you can start targeting low levels again. Right now it's around here. Preferably you want some deviation away from the value area to get you that better risk to reward ratio and less risk on your setup. Before you start jumping into shorts, you want to see that grab and then change a character, and then you can start shorting. But yeah, what else we got? If we look at, okay, so we looked at virtual. Can we do TA on TIA? Okay, let's take a look and see if we have a TIA chart. Nope, okay. Let's pull it up on Binance. Okay. So last time we looked at TIA, It looks like we're preparing for double bottom off of a core level here. So zoom out. Okay. Just adjusting everything here. Okay, yeah, so looks like the last time we were preparing for a potential swing failure pattern from these levels here and a double bottom structure in confluence with that. It doesn't look like we got the proper swing failure. We didn't grab the liquidity from down below. We had like a local one, but we didn't have the legacy one that we were looking at on the charts. We got the double bottom, we hit the value area low as resistance, then we got the lower low confirming that value area as resistance during that moment, and then we started dropping down to these low levels over here. Is this price discovery? It's not price discovery, is it? Oh, it's pretty close, at least on this chart. So we're seeing TIA get to super low levels. I have to double check on other exchanges to see if maybe we have more history, but if this is the case, hopefully it's not in price discovery, because that's going to be rough. Price discovery, you got to start watching the psychological levels, like the rounded numbers, like $2 in this case, or $2.60 or $2.30, because people tend to put their limit buy orders when they're trying to invest in lower prices at rounded numbers. And you can verify how big their certain buy walls are within the order books to help give you an edge in knowing where to undercut if you're trying to get in yourself. Of course, make sure you look for confluences within the order books, but the order books are raw data, so it helps out a lot. The only thing you got to worry about when it comes to the order books is non-intentional fulfills, people who pull their orders kind of like last second. Let's see. I'm just going to pull a fib from the low to the high here. Yeah, it looks like it hit the golden pocket. So I just decided to pull a fib from here to here just to see if we established support off the golden pocket. And we got a good bounce off of that location. So there could have been confluence there if you jumped in on the trade. But the target is almost already met for this structure, because the internal liquidity is basically from each point of interest we have is from here, some right here, 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 and here. So as a market maker, entering at these lows and prompting the move, they would target all of this. But we're starting to get rejection off of the value area high. This is the hourly time frame. Let's see what kind of structure we have on the 15-minute. I'm not sure how to trade this, but did we break that? Yes, we did, didn't we? Yes, we technically got the break, but low confidence move. What you want to see for TIA, if you're a holder and you want to see a reversal, this level here needs to break. We need to see it act as support so we can start targeting the value area again. And once we get acceptance into that value area with a break of structure, then we might see a rotation to the top of that value area again, up here at 652. That's a big ask, because like there's this barrier we have to break. So you have to babysit until that breaks, and then you have to break above this level, get acceptance, then break above the point of control to get to that value area high. So there's like 4 barriers just before even reaching that. But that's how you'd babysit it, with alarms along the way up. If you're already in on a trade position around here, I would set alarms for each of those key areas. This high here, the value area here, low here, the point of control here, and the value area high here. Because each one of those locations might be, you might get a warning sign to tell you to get out, depending on how you're going to be controlling your position. If it's going to be a swing trade, or if it's going to be a position hold, or if it's a scalp. We have downtrending momentum that we can watch here. So check for confluences with momentum like this. In the order books, if you see a sell wall alongside this trend line, chasing the trend line, then that kind of gives you an idea that it could be a market maker manipulating the price. Okay, and yeah, that's TIA. And what I'd like to see in a picture perfect reversal would be a break of this level, a break of this level here, a rejection off the value area low for a reset, and then an inverse head and shoulders into the value area to give it the momentum that it needs to get proper acceptance to the value area to get to right to that value area high in a picture perfect world. But this is like a really good start for something like that. So the right shoulder would just, we'd see a mitigation of that supply and then off to the races. What else we got, guys? Or BTC to 150K in a day. You'd be surprised what Bitcoin would do, but I don't think it would get to 150K in a single day. That's like a 50% increase of its market cap in a single day. That's a lot of money. Okay, let's go back to Bitcoin's price action. Let's see if we get anything. No, it's starting to slow down. It's a good sign for the short, but the buyer's confidence dwindling a bit. Let's see. Litecoin range up to 127. We can take a look at that. Straight up Qubic shill. Could you make a TA? How low could we go? Worst case. Let's look at Qubic. Qubic chart. Nope. Okay. Let's look at Qubic on gate.io or BitGet. Probably BitGet. Okay. Yeah, I wanted this level to break really bad for Qubic because the move, the rotation for a structural target like that, it's pretty big. Oh, 1 sec, I'll just move that for you guys. But now we're getting back to these lows again. So I'm going to pull a fib from, well, this isn't all the historical data of Qubic. I'm pretty sure it's older than this. So let's go to gate.io. There we go. That's much better. Alright, so we have established the loss here, and then the leave here. Pull a, just gonna box this zone right here, where we have this volume spike that created this point of control, and the value area low. So it's gonna box this zone. And historically for Qubic, I know it hasn't been around for very long, but this is the best place to prepare for a long. Last time we exited this value area, we had the move of just 284%. Not saying that's going to happen again, but let's grab this momentum. Will likely be range bound until we hit it. 30 days. I've noticed a lot of confluence with some altcoins having 30 days worth of negative space towards their downtrending momentum. So it kind of suggests that we might see altcoins be range bound for a bit. So maybe Bitcoin dominance might have a spike during a period like that. But we had this descending channel, and we broke out of it, and now we're at the value area low. We should mark our zones. So we get the horizontal ray here for the previous point control. Value area high. And the value area low. Okay. This is the 4 hour, so let's zoom in on the 15. Got a strong double bottom V-shaped recovery here. And now we're starting to coil up again, similar to virtual. And the apex point for the move is in like less than 30 minutes. Well, yeah, probably it says an hour and 15 minutes, but we tend to break out prior to that. We have yeah, it's gonna be a crappy move, unfortunately. The move to the downside would probably be more lucrative. It's super short term, but a move to the upside would only really give us the potential move to here, the top of the structure. The break to the downside. We could see a bounce off of this neckline, but we can probably end up going a lot lower. To that point of control, it's a big magnet for the price action. And we've got liquidity here that could be grabbed. But macro-wise, if you're thinking of this just investor point of view, you still want to make sure you're jumping in a position of strength, like confirmed, larger time frame, change of character. Especially if it's near the area of the momentum. But yeah, this would be a great idea to prepare for a macro long position for Qubic. If we confirm this as support, instead of resistance and go crazy in price discovery, like this is going to be a great opportunity. You need like 2 to 3 extra money. Or you can just target the local value area high and get like 58%. Depending on your entry. But that's a long-term hold. You're looking for a wait time of around 20 to 30 days, and then likely a hold for at least 2 weeks after that. What else we have in the chat? We did virtual, we did TIA, we did Qubic, and then music on the west side wants me to look at Litecoin, potential range for Litecoin. So pull up a Litecoin chart. All right, we got looks like we finally broke that horizontal resistance, man. It took a while. So we had a massive sell wall that was keeping Litecoin from breaking above this level right here. So a bunch of limit orders, sell positions that were keeping it from exceeding that price. And after ranging all weekend, we finally broke out of it. Had active support. We got the higher high during this moment here. Could enter long, stop loss here. And we're building a regression trend. Right here, super tight uptrend, where basically these are usually built from people entering highly aggressive shorts, and then their liquidity being grabbed over and over and over again. The point of interest is right here for the reversal. But the rotation down might only bring us right back down to where we confirmed. Around 110-ish. So for your range theory there, music, you are definitely right into thinking that like this, we can look at these recent highs and the fact that we are starting to get acceptance back inside this previous value area. We should have behavior that will sync relatively closely to that in this zone here. So we could rotate back up to around like 128 potentially. Then we'll have a range between around 114, 115 to 128. So I'll prepare for that for sure. Yeah. Just delete that and literally trade it as a value area, be the exact same information. What's this previous value area low from though? I want to see what's that's from. Okay, that's why it's important. Okay. The previous bull markets established value area low. It's been acting as resistance here. We're just kind of like trying to get that proper acceptance into this value area. Instead, we're getting rejections. If we like, as we came in, if we got a pullback and then like a 2 candle pullback and then a higher high, then we have acceptance into this value area. But instead, we dip into it and then we crash over and over and over again. So eventually when we get that proper acceptance, hey, it could happen here. We're getting signs of accumulation, right? So if we come up here, hit this high, pull back one last time, get that inverse head and shoulders, then we'll have that proper acceptance that we normally want. And we can see Litecoin escape that range and then behave like it did in the last bull market and potentially reach around $200. Well, that's Litecoin. I hold a little bit of Litecoin, but not too much. Just gonna update that so it's macro previous value area low. Okay, currently monthly VWAP. Yep, just hitting it now. What are the best charts to look at when doing TA? What would you recommend? Bitstamp, MEXC, Binance? That's a very good question. I use Bitstamp, but only because it provides the largest amount of historical data for Bitcoin. I highly recommend though that when you're doing it, all really does depend on your strategy. So if you have a scalping strategy, I'd recommend high liquidity charts like Bybit. Like Bybit's one of the best charts in terms of liquidity. So I'll focus on Bybit for like scalping, like short-term scalps, like trades that you tend on trying to get in and out of within roughly the same day. If you're doing swing trades, your information isn't as sensitive, so you can use like Bitstamp and stuff like that. So I recommend like Bitstamp for like macro TA swing trades, just because you have all the data that you need. But when you're doing your scalping, like Bybit seems to be the best, or at least the exchange that you're trading on for your scalping. So if you're trading on MEXC and you're putting your money on MEXC and performing your trade there, then you should be doing your analysis on it. Because your measurable based targets and your liquidity zones are going to be very, very slightly different. So it's important to know your actual native exchange that you're trading on, like your levels and stuff like that. What else we have? We do virtual protocol. We did virtual already. Near the beginning, it was the first request. Can you do a TA on Beam? And what is your opinion on it? I don't know enough about Beam to give you a good opinion on it, but I can tell you what the charts tell me. Okay. Looks like the last time we were looking at it together was over here. It was a double bottom right here, and this is the level that we wanted broken for the continuation. So we had the previous value area low for the confluence for a long. We double bottomed off of that value area low. We broke the neckline, and then we had a confirmation right here, and the confirmation was validated. We had a full body acceptance here, and then we had the higher high here with stop loss guard here, and then you could target this high, and if we ended up breaking it and seeing the exact same thing that we saw here, but over here, we could have stayed in the trade, but instead forced out with a double top internally on the lower time frames. And I'll zoom in so you can see it better. Lower, yeah. So this is the 15-minute double top I was talking about. But yeah, so that's Beam for our last look at it, at least. Now if we zoom in, we got some bullish confluence going on here. Just looking at the structure alone. Downtrending momentum, broke here. We started grabbing buy side liquidity from up here. We're coiling just like everything else we saw, but this already broke to the upside, right? We hit the top level that we were talking about with the previous asset, where that's pretty much the measurable target for behavior like that. So we already grabbed it. We're starting to get like a little bit of a cool down from it. But we can see this rotate all the way up to the value area high around 111 or 0. That's not even, yeah, it's just over a penny. 0.011. Zooming out further, I saw, yeah, we grabbed this previous low here. So there was tons of liquidity likely resting below this zone that we just recently grabbed. And that's likely what resulted in this giant spike to the upside. That liquidity grab from this low. Massive liquidity sweep. And then we're coming back down to retrace the wick, which is incredibly common. Retracing the wick is incredibly common. And sometimes we get that inducement for a little last grab before coming back up. And that's what most traders prefer before jumping in a trade, because it makes you feel safer about your entry. But yeah, I don't know much about Beam, but it does look like it's starting to perform a reversal pattern. This is a really, really important level that needs to break right here. If you're a long-term holder of Beam and you want to stay a long-term holder, you definitely want to have this broken rather than us confirming this value area as resistance, or else we can go much further down. Because the value area is like 20%. So the momentum of the move could be pretty dramatic if we break that low. Yeah, all we have is this level left. It's an awkward regression trend, value area. We're kind of just using it right now as support. Let's see what we get. But yes, Beam. Let's go back to Bitcoin, see how it's behaving. We're getting a little undercut. Zoom in the 5 for a second. You know, looks like we might lose this level and get front run. What we have in the chat. Every time you trade virtuals, you get stopped out. That chart and I don't like each other. And there's some assets that are easier to trade than others. If you find that an asset is very disrespectful of its strong highs and strong lows before like continuing off a direction that you predicted, then you shouldn't trade that asset. Just focus on ones that respect their market structure a lot more so you can have easier wins. You don't want to fight for your money in the trading space. You want to make it as easy as possible. Can we do EGLD? Yeah, we can do EGLD. I wonder if we have an EGLD chart. I haven't looked at EGLD in a while. No, we don't. Look at EGLD. Binance. Yeah, it looks like the last time I looked at it was December. And it's deviated away from its active value area. It hasn't confirmed it as resistance, but we're below it, which is great for, you got to prepare for potential longs in these zones. Our current core area of interest on the daily is way up here, but we'll likely get a front run opportunity to that. We got the little stiletto pattern that Alexo Crypto likes to trade, preferably lower. It's looking a lot like everything else, to be honest. We got this high that we want to have broken. Looks like we're trying to build reversal structure, but it's really choppy right now. We have this low that we can go for. See if they get a liquidity sweep from that. I'd pull a, let me just update that so it's easier to pull a Fibonacci retracement tool from this low to this high to establish a zone where you might want to prepare for a long. So if you get any reversal confluence within this zone, you box the 618, 0.618 to the 786. This zone you could prepare for potential longs. Let's see what happens. But yeah, basically we want price action to potentially come down here, double bottom, change of character. Then you can target the highs. But right now it's just chilling. I'd pull a value area from this supply concern that was mitigated over here to the end of the range to establish your value area. And unmark your value area low, your value area high, and your point control. I'll just do the high and low there. But yeah, this will be your short zone that you prepare. Unless you see this act as a form of support, then you do not short, or else you'll get burned. It'll go likely to the value area low here, the previous value area low. We have a supply concern here. See, we had this impulse move down, base, another impulse move down. So we know that there's likely going to be sellers still waiting there. So just watch out with that confluence of the previous value area low. If we do get up there, we might get a rejection back down. But preferably we get a long scenario around this location so we can get a really good entry to potentially front run this neckline break. How's that doing anyway? That's this is one of the better assets, right? I don't know much about EGLD either, but I know it's one of the OGs. Been around since 2020 on this chart. Can we look at XRP? Yeah. So XRP had a correction, pretty harsh one, from its new all-time high to this wick here was 47% correction. So it lost almost half its market cap in what, like that was 17 days, so like half a month. It kind of rolled over after we grabbed this liquidity from here, a harsh V-shaped recovery here, and then we had a rounded top, and then it fell back into here, and now we're building a pennant structure. And a lot of things, like, again, is looking like this structure, but it's positioned, like XRP's positioning is really bullish, because where it happened was above still the previous all-time high right here. So it honored that all-time high as support when it did that liquidity grab, and it swept up a lot of the liquidity from these lows here, and they gave us that really aggressive bounce. Now the structure that we're forming right now, I would highly advise looking at the liquidity heat maps. So we'll do that together. Let's go to symbol here. This is on CoinGlass. For those who are watching, it's free to use. So you just go to coinglass.com and you'll find this under liquidations tab, liquidation heat map right here. And then if you're looking for a specific asset other than Bitcoin, you got to click on symbol. And then over here on the right hand side, you can adjust which asset you're looking for. And they'll only have like the more popular assets listed here. So you won't be able to find, you know, your favorite shitcoin or something like that on this, but you can find something like XRP for sure. So we got XRP, and how long we've been ranging for. We were ranging from here to here for, let's grab all this data from here to here. So 8 days. So you want to have a heat map that includes the data for longer than 8 days. So we're gonna use a 2-week heat map chart. And then we'll look at where most of the weighted liquidity is. And we can see that most of the weighted liquidity is above us, not below us. So market maker bias would be bullish. If we look a little bit more further into it, we have like way up here, it seems like most of the weighted liquidity was right before the collapse. So someone jumped in on, or someone's, like a large amount of people jumped into a high leverage short because the liquidation is relatively close to that peak. What price is that? That's at 317.14. So if we go back to XRP's chart and we were to draw a horizontal line and get the coordinates for 317.14, we know where all that money is resting now. And it was right before we dropped here. Or was it here? It was either here or here. Let's double check. The second one. So it's this one here. So someone or a group of people jumped in a massive short when this confirmed, when we lost this level of support. And they're doing pretty well right now. So we could come up and grab that liquidity. And we could look at the internal. Let's go down to the 1 week on the heat map. And we'll see like what we can do locally at least. So we have a large amount of liquidity that started in shorts at 257. So at 257, right here. So during this moment, we had a large amount of liquidity added to the market. So as a market maker that's looking for like maybe exit liquidity, let's say you jumped in on a long down here and you jumped in with like $40 million and you need a large amount of liquidity in a certain zone to make sure you can exit without crazy amounts of slippage. You'd be looking at a chart like this to find locations that you could exit with like a limit order that would cause the least amount of price disruption. So this would be the zone that a market maker would look at to prepare for an exit or for a big buy. So if we see this location give us like a double top telling us that we're failing to create higher highs and we get that change of character, then we have our answer telling us that that was used as liquidity for an exit. If we instead see a break of structure continuation, then we are more likely to see, like, identify that that was used as buy-side liquidity to help pump the asset. So this would be a zone of interest that you would watch. And if you have basically you can have confluences for a long or a short in that area. So you just got to make sure you're watching the market structure very carefully, because it can shoot you in the foot, jumping in the wrong side, right? Or a lot of people also like to hedge in those zones. They'll jump into a long and a short and use structural guards. But that only makes sense if the math is there for your R&R. Right now, if you look at the behavior of this though, if we get that lower low, we have a head and shoulders that could bring us right back down to these lows. But we have this demand concern right here. So I would want to, if I wanted to short this, after this broke, I would want a confirmation, a break of structure. I would definitely not enter on this as a breakout trader, just because of the fact that we have a demand zone that's holding it up that hasn't been fully mitigated yet. So break of structure, jump in on the continuation, on the break of structure, use the strong high as my stop loss guard, and then use the measurable base target from the head and shoulders, which pretty much comes in line with these lows here. But that's XRP. So it's looking interesting with the amount of liquidity that's resting above us there. It kind of matches what's going on with Bitcoin, because above Bitcoin's little spike here, if I go to Bitcoin's chart, we have hundreds of millions of dollars above a similar structural location, like right above, like here. And I marked it as a little square here with $200 million liquidity. That's just on Binance. There's liquidity in other exchanges as well. It doesn't mean you have to grab it now, because if we confirm to go lower, more liquidity is going to be added here, and it's going to make it easier for us to start chasing that. What else we got? Please do dot. Yeah, we can do dot. Oh, Poyo, what's up, man? Can you look at SMCX? It's a stock. You're long since 39.80. You got a problem. I'm just getting up the list here. All right, so we did EGLD. The next one on the list was Solana. So we'll do Andrew Cameron's suggestion there. And we'll work our way down the list here, guys. So Solana. Let's go back on the 15-minute for Bitcoin first. Sol. What we really, okay, it looks like the last time we were looking at was a short. We were watching these levels here for a short, and we broke, came back up, retested it, playing with your heartstrings a little bit, and then came down to the point of control, which is pretty much the target for that steep neckline double top here. Right? Yeah, we hit the target to the wick right here. And then we're ranging, hitting a previous value area low. I gotta pull back here and see where that value area low came from. Looks like from over. Oh, detached from this. Okay. Previous demand zone. It looked like it was consistently influencing the price action, so I left it on for a while. It still is. We have the rejection off that level, so It gets a little messy when you see like a lot of these levels being respected, but if they're still being respected all the time, it's good to keep them on there as additional information that will help you control your emotions, right? You can get the rejection to help you exit your trade, or you can get the acceptance to help you stay in your trade. Really choppy price action on the 15-minute. Let me delete that. We don't need it anymore. Yeah, I can see us coming back down to this local spot here and then having us be range bound for a little bit longer. Pulley fixed range from here, fib from here to here, and just like mark your zone here for a potential long. So pretty much right below the value area low as you prepare for longs. Around here, see if you get that internal change of character, and you can target the value area high from around like 200 to 196. And we just got a break of structure continuation after losing the point of control as support. So you'll see it coming down to the value area low very soon. It'll be down there within the next 3 hours. But down there, yeah, I'll prepare for a potential long in that zone. Just what you want to look for is that lower time frame, change of character, acceptance into the value area. And then you can target the value area high while being very careful around the point of control. Okay. All right. Now, Pendle was the next request. And then we'll do SMCX. So Pendle, I don't know if I've done that one. Binance. No, I haven't. I guess not. Well, hopefully it's not building a massive double top for you. We've got a macro valley area here. We've got downtrending momentum. It's fairly wicky, but it doesn't look like it disrespects its market structure too much. It's only done it a couple times. Still be cautious with it. What's the percentage of this valley area? 100%, 120% valley area. That's crazy. What's the age? A year. Okay, so we range bound in here for a year. So this is definitely a potential location where it'll take some time, but I think this thing is going to keep going down a little bit further. Maintain the evolving momentum or the internal momentum that we got going on right here. And likely position itself for a really good opportunity around like $3 or $2.75. And then to get that, when we break that momentum, showing us that the buyers have kind of taken over, that the buyer's momentum is taking pace over the seller's momentum. Then we can start targeting the value area high again around $5.50. If we go zooming in a little further, Our current core area of interest is here. We might go up further and get a better one. Right? But yeah, right now it's here. And where we can prepare for shorts. You have to babysit it until this level breaks. But after that level breaks, it should come down relatively quickly to the point of control at 270. So I'm not, if I were wanting to invest in this asset, I would not be in a rush. Give it some time to correct again. But this here is the zone I would definitely prepare. Would probably have tons of confluence, even Fibonacci confluence from this low right here to this high right here. We can box this zone. From the golden pocket to the 76, and then look for confluences within it. Like a double bottom, change of character, and then off to the races. Next request was SMCX. It's a stock. It's a good change of pace. Don't usually get many stock requests. If you truly, like, guys, like, some stocks are so easy to trade if you are patiently waiting for some data to release. Because you can predict moves months in advance with some stocks. Just by looking at their income reports. So SCMs, what are we looking at? NASDAQ, man? Defiance daily target, 2x long SM ETF. I'm not sure if I'm looking at the right one here. Let's see if this is it. Kyle, I'm curious to know your top 3 coins to invest in if you don't mind sharing. Yeah, the ones I invest in the most right now is Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. But they're safe bets. My second biggest bag is Litecoin by far. It just felt like such a guarantee this cycle that I decided to put as much as I could in, and so I invested around $7.50 for Litecoin because we had as a community we were looking at assets that were breaking their macro resistance, and like BNB and Litecoin and all these other assets were like getting close to breaking their bull market trend lines. And Litecoin just felt like a guarantee, in confluence with what they were doing with helping banks and stuff like that, creating their own networks. It just felt like a guarantee win. So I played it really safe this cycle. Last cycle, I was crazy. It's back when regulations weren't as strict, so you could trade pretty much on any exchange. And I was trading on KuCoin last cycle, and I bought pretty much every altcoin I could find on KuCoin because I thought if I diversified between like 100 assets, that I would guarantee to have one that would 100x. And there were some that did extremely well, but most of them disappeared. So my portfolio was actually very balanced. Like, I pretty much made nothing by doing that. So if it wasn't for my trading income, I wouldn't have done well last cycle because my investing income wasn't that great. Let's see. So SMCX. Yeah, we're approaching. This thing's going. I decided to pull like a fib from this local high here. It's not perfectly on the dollar. To this low right here. So high to low. To generate us this golden pocket and 786 level where we can prepare for potential reversals. I would love to see this thing, if you're holding it, man, I would love to see this thing break its neckline and have it act as support so we can get acceptance back inside this value area again. This looks super old. 104 days, yeah. 104-day double bottom. Inverse head and shoulders down here. You said, what price did you say you get him in? You got in at 39.80. So I'm going to draw a horizontal line. 39.80. I could see your reasoning, yeah. So you got it on the break of structure continuation right here on this candle. And only had a couple hours of red probably, and then off to the races. So good job, man. That's awesome. We have acceptance into that previous value area right here. I'll pull that for everyone to see. Right? So like right during that moment, if I pull the value area low, you can see the exact thing that whenever I say acceptance to a value area, this is exactly what I mean. You want to have price action come up, pull back, and create a higher high, break a structure, and that's what you got. Full body acceptance. We didn't get the wick until up here, but full body acceptance into a value area is pretty damn good too. So good job, man. You're above this value area high, so you can move your stop loss deep into the profit zone. I gotta recommend having your stop loss at least here, and you can technically put it, I would say just at least here at like 46.23, and then look for the next 2 candle pullback on the hourly and then higher high, and then chase it on the hourly for a bit until you give it some time where you can use daily structure. You're in a really, really good spot. I'll prepare for potential exits around like $77. When we get to this zone, we might see reversal structure around here. Good job, man. Keep it up. You're crushing it. I'm going to take some off at 100. Oh, yeah, this high. Yeah. That's the platinum pocket there at the 886 platinum level on the fib. Nice. Okay. Let's take a peek again at Bitcoin, see what it's doing. Still slow crawling. Runway is saying that ETH short positions are its largest in history. Well, I wouldn't be too bearish on that. Because we're always going to break records with shorts in a bull market. Every bull market breaks a previous shorts record. The last cycle, we have more money, more interest. What was their most recent announcement? Today, was it today? I don't know, they recently talked about proposing on Ethereum a new fork, like a hard fork, to protect themselves against quantum computers. And I don't think they should be rushing too quickly into that. It's not like they're going to be spending their time trying to hack crypto with a quantum computer. They have 1.5 seconds worth of like airtime with a quantum computer, so I think they're going to be trying to solve problems, not make problems. Especially since the amount of people in the world that have a quantum computer, you're very easy to target. So I don't see them. I get the urgency, but yeah. So that basically means Ethereum's going to have to do liquidity migration if they do a fork, which basically looks a lot like an airdrop into your wallet. With an asset with basically the same ticker, but different code. If anyone's been through like the Gala adjustments, you know what I'm talking about. It's really a annoying process depending on how they do it, and or depending on the amount of networks they're involved in, but Ethereum is huge, right? So it'd be kind of the equivalent to like Bitcoin Cash when they did that fork. When someone cloned Bitcoin basically and made Bitcoin Cash. They did an airdrop, which I believe is still the largest airdrop in history. Because anyone who had like Bitcoin got the equivalent in tokens from Bitcoin Cash. I had to double check that fact. I'm not sure if it is still the largest airdrop in history, but still doing yeah. The Gala stuff's a mess. Kyle, as someone who has been in crypto for a long time, very successful, what's your opinion on altcoin season, the potential of its cycle season? Yeah, that's a good question. So altcoin season, if we go to one of the best charts is the others dominance chart. I've noticed that it's really accurate for help giving you readings on preparing for altcoin seasons or crazy opportunities within the altcoin space. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to show you something that's pretty friggin' significant. So this red line represents think of it like this is the others 10 chart. So all assets that are not a part of the top 10 ranking in the crypto space. So this excludes like Bitcoin, this excludes like Litecoin, this excludes Chainlink, stuff like that. So a lot of altcoins are going to look like this chart if you look at it in the lower time frames. All the charts that we looked at together, you could say with confidence that they all look a lot like this, right? So when you see this positioning really, really low on the macro chart when you zoom out again, I'm going to zoom back out to the daily, then you have a decent understanding that you might be in a location where you should be thinking about long-term holds. But we lost this uptrending level support that's been holding up the buyer's momentum trend since 2017, April of 2017, and we recently lost it. We haven't maybe we have. Yeah, the first time ever we confirmed it as resistance right here. When we came in through here, this isn't technically confirming it as resistance. We didn't have a 2-candle pullback and then a lower low. This we had 2-candle pullback and then a lower low. So I'm not saying that the altcoin season's off, but it's definitely delayed because we were anticipating us to be squeezed into the event and then breaking this level here to help define the altcoin season. Now this is when people will scream altcoin season. When this breaks and we have this confirm as support, we'll likely see this chart get to around like 16-15% again. But we should be able to find a ton of front run opportunities down at these lows here. So this basically tells us that we, on most charts, have just did a liquidity grab, an SFP basically. We grabbed a bunch of liquidity. So if we look at all your charts that are part of the others dominance, they should look a lot like what just happened here. And so I would be looking for, basically what I'm trying to say is I'll be looking for a front run opportunity for longs that might look like they might be short-term scalps, but if a core level breaks, then we'll have a strong continuation into an altcoin season. But based on the on-chain data, we tend to have our altcoin seasons when Bitcoin's overheated. Like this chart will pretty much give you a huge ass warning saying like, hey, when we're in the overheated zone and we start seeing Bitcoin range within the overheated zone, then we tend to have a large amount of money outflow from Bitcoin into network tokens and then into alts. But yeah, instead we've been ranging at these mid levels, and every time we range, alts suffer extremely hard for it. We instead want to see people outflow, take their profits out of Bitcoin into alts in order for us to define the altcoin season. But it hasn't really been the case. Memes have been getting their butts kicked, and the funds have slowly been like flowing a little bit into utility-based assets. So this cycle so far has been really awkward for calling the altcoin season. So I don't think we're going to have a true altcoin season until we see Bitcoin in the overheated zone. We're just going to have these awkward little rallies and then massive crashes. And whatever the narrative is will help us define these new all-time highs for like certain assets. But other ones like Atom or Matic or Cardano, the ones that kind of got like siphoned away from the new assets like Injective and Sui, those ones are going to thrive really well. But I'm not really confident in some of these older assets that are kind of like getting replaced by new technology. So you got to pick your assets very carefully. Compared to the last cycle, it was a lot easier in the last cycle. This cycle, you got to be very careful with which ones you pick. So focus on the narrative, like real world assets, AI agents, and look for timing within them, and like don't hunt too down the rabbit hole. Tom Crown, what's up, man? Many thanks for your share knowledge with us. You have some VIP group or something to copy you? Yeah, I've got a VIP group. I got a link down below for Finova. We help people out with one-on-one, like group coaching calls and courses and stuff like that. Brian, Kyle's my dad. What's up, man? Can we look at Sui? Yeah, we can look at Sui. No problem. Yeah, speaking of Tom Crown, I might be doing analysis with his community too. Tom Crown in the house. Thanks for the $2, man. Yeah. All right, so let's go to... what was the other request again? We were looking at... I just read it out loud. We have Filecoin. That's from Runway. There's one right before that. I didn't want to miss out. EGLD. Sui. There it is. All right. Sui. Let's zoom out on the daily. Take a peek. A lot of the daily charts for some assets are looking really messy. Speaking of mess, I'm going to get rid of some of this noise. We got the downtrending momentum here. Let's get, we're preparing for an SFP around here. We got it. It was pretty good. Look at that. Oh, did anyone like measure this candle yet? Pretty intense. Seeing that Sui almost lost like about 40% of its market cap in a single candle and then recovered it. Just bizarre. Definitely some insufficient moves there. We got almost a tap into this daily order block here, but I would consider that basically mitigated. I would be very cautious around that zone. But we might likely have liquidity resting down below this zone that could be used as entry-based liquidity for market makers, so just make sure you're aware of that. If we zoom in here, it's looking a lot like everything else. You know, we're just looking at the others' dominance chart, right? How everything's kind of looking the same. So all of our structures look very similar to this. And Sui's, replicating that relatively well. If it doesn't replicate this, that's a sign of relative strength. So if you see relative strength, it's a good way of trying to build a list of assets that move uniquely so you can have more trade opportunities and aren't influenced by the same flowing assets all the time. Because a lot of assets have the same pairing liquidity, and Sui has a ton of Ethereum pairing liquidity, so it moves a lot alongside with Ethereum's short-term movements. But when it comes to its longer-term based movements, when certain key levels break with Sui, it has relative strength during those moments and then just ends up getting the spotlight for a a lot of the space. But yeah, we recently had this double bottom after grabbing liquidity below these lows, and we're starting to build like a regression trend around the top after mitigating this hourly order block. So we had some confluence there for some resistance. I would grab a fib level from here to here just to see if there's any confluence there. And you can see we hit the 786 and almost hit the platinum level at the 886. The core area of interest right now is on the 15-minute time frame. We go over here. You can see, yeah, this level needs to break basically here. And we might be able to see a front run a little sooner than that. This is really choppy. Yeah, let's see how close we are to the measurable base target for the double bottom. The buyer's momentum, it could bring us up to 347 before having a true correction. But I'll prepare for the undercut at this previous value area high with confluence of this 15-minute order block. We have liquidity that's resting right above this level that could use as exit liquidity in confluence with that value area high. So we might see this basically continue as a regression trend further up, but we're starting to lose momentum now, so we might not make it. This is the uptrending buyer's momentum. And all we're really missing is that change of character. So once we get that, we can see that rotation back down, but I'll be very mindful of this demand zone right here. That could cause a reversal. So just short-term scalp stuff, nothing like significant. But if this level has any relation to like Bitcoin's and XRP's level with all that weighted liquidity that was resting above that zone, then this is going to be a huge market maker magnet. Just be aware of that. I want to zoom out a little bit further on Sui, because I want to see like where it is relative to. Okay, yeah. So it looks like we're trying to establish this as a range. And that's a pretty steep, it's an 80% range. That's Sui. Nothing crazy. No real true setups on it that I would take. Anything else you guys want to look at? So I know I missed some. We got Filecoin. Let's look at Filecoin. All right. Right, their ticker is FIL. Yeah. We can look at it on Binance. So we still got our core area of interest that hasn't broken yet since the last time we looked at it. We hit our level for the SFP that we're watching for. Just, yeah, during that ridiculous behavior that we saw with the other assets, 25% wick. So we grabbed all the liquidity that was resting below here, here, and here, all within one candle. So no wonder we got a crazy reaction like that when the sellers pushed it down that hard, basically triggering buys and liquidations and stop loss rebuys. Tons of stop loss rebuys. But yeah, it's looking like everything else. We got the what Alex of Crypto likes to call a stiletto kind of looking pattern here. We've got a fixed range that we can pull from here to here. We're at our value area high right now. I think that we're likely going to grab the buy side liquidity here and use it as exit liquidity to bring us back down to establish this range a little bit further. So I'll be looking still maybe for another potential retracement back down to these lows. But if this level here acts as a form of support with a break of structure, our chances of a continuation to the upside is pretty high. And we could see the rejection again at 425, where the supply concern is. We have a tiny one here, but it's nothing in comparison to this one. And so just I'd watch for, if we get that strong reversal, that harsh rejection around 425. Just zoom in here. Yeah. But yeah, historical lows, like levels for Filecoin. And we still want this level to break to give it that measurable base move to $45 with a huge supply concern here. But this would be the huge spark that we need in order to get that acceptance into the zone to allow us to even reach that target. We're definitely piling more liquidity to make that possible. Now we got some here, stacked here. What else we got in the chat? Can we look at TST? Yeah, let's see what TST is about. Have I done that before? Token test. Or is it teleport system token? We'll look at it on Bybit because they have lots of liquidity there. We don't see the dinosaur though. And, this chart looks terrible, by the way, but we'll push on through it. We'll see it on KuCoin. Nope. I guess we'll stick with Bybit. So I can't really give proper TA on something that doesn't have proper candles. We've had we went into price discovery, assuming that this is the full history of the chart. I don't think it is. It seems like this thing has been, most of its history is probably in a decentralized space. Typically you want to see a little dinosaur down here to help tell you that it might be the full historical data for the asset. And we don't have that on this chart. So maybe we'll look at Dex Screener and see if we can find a better chart there. So I'll pull that up here. All right, okay. So TST is what we're looking for, right? Test token, that looks like it, yeah. So it's built, looks like most of its liquidity is on the Binance Smart Chain. We'll look at, and we got 2 pools. Might be able to do some arbitrage here, guys. So one pool's got the price of, yeah, it's really close together. But the liquidity pools are very dramatically different. We have $10 million in this liquidity pool and $3 million in this one. So there's going to be price divergences between these two. So if you put both of these separate liquidity pools on your watch list, you might be able to get yourself some easy gains for some arbitrage opportunities. Buy low on one exchange, sell high on the other. But it's all on the same exchange, except there's 2 versions of liquidity. This is a V2 liquidity pool and a V3 liquidity pool. And this is, yeah, this looks more stable, to be honest. This is the one that you're looking for, man. Is that it? Let's go, 60 Kyle. What's up, man? How you doing? We're just talking about you. All right, so we got, if this is the token you're looking at, man, we kind of approached this macro demand zone, and we're ranging off of it right now. We've got a macro double bottom that could be performed. But this is a key level here that needs to be broken and has a this needs to act as a form of support right here, around 21 cents, to help validate a strong continuation to the upside. You're likely going to have front run opportunities before that, because right now we're looking at this isn't the larger time frames, but the data is slow. Let's see, 13 hours. Maybe this isn't it, but just be cautious of this price action. We just grabbed buy side liquidity here. And just watch for so we have this uptrending momentum that we can watch and monitor here to track the buyer's momentum. Right here. Our last retest was at 1688. It's our current core area of interest. We'll probably get a higher core area of interest soon. But right now, yeah, the price action is pretty young. And I don't know much about this asset, so just be very careful. I would be doing a research on, well, the holder count's pretty high, considering how young it is. I do research on these liquidity pools to make sure that your funds would be safe using them. These addresses have like 76% of the liquidity, to make sure that it's locked or that it's safe. When you have that much of the funds in one spot, it's pretty high risk. Yeah, not much I can do in terms of the TA on this. Basically, you just want to have this macro neckline broken to help define a reversal off this demand zone right here. It's super young. Crazy moves though. Congrats if you got in on any of this. Obviously people are taking profits and we're coming back down to the zone here, but this is an area where you want to prepare for a reversal for sure. And I don't think this is the same asset. The price point's completely different. Unless there was an arbitrage attack, I don't think this is the same asset. An arbitrage attack basically is when you see a new listing and it has the price deviated away from its decentralized prices, so people will buy it low on one, sell it on the other, and in this case they could have been selling it here and then transferring their funds out and just doing it over and over and over again until the liquidity pool is like completely obliterated. And it's insanely common on KuCoin exchanges, on the KuCoin exchange, because they don't ask for very much of the tokens to get listed. Kyle, can you look at total 3 USDT/Bitcoin chart at all as a metric to track? I used to look at it a lot more in the past than I do now, but no, I don't look at total 3 as much as I used to. This is the total 3 chart here. It helps me a lot with identifying like levels where I'm going to prepare for like macro reversals in the dominance, but like for example this massive double top that we got going on over here, and it could be confirming very shortly. We just need to see this act as a form of resistance and then a lower low, and they'll confirm this double top. But I don't use it as much as I used to. I've veered toward looking at on-chain data a lot more because I feel it's a lot more pinpoint accurate and giving you an edge in knowing when the bull market top is in or the bear market low, or when an altcoin season is likely going to spark. So on-chain data I find it's just a little bit more refined, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with using this. I think it's awesome. I use it religiously to prepare for core areas. Going back to Bitcoin's 15-minute chart, I just want to see what the price action is looking at, like right here. Yeah, it's still chilling. Is it possible to look at Fartcoin? Yeah, I guess. We can do that. Yeah, my career has gone to looking at butthole coin and Fartcoin and frog tokens. All right, what's Fartcoin's ticker? Is it Fart? No, it's just Fartcoin, eh? All right. We'll look at it on BitGet. Right now on the 5-minute chart, it's coiling into a pennant. All right, so we're like in decision mode right now. Will it drop or will it continue? We've got 2 levels to watch out for that. So we have this level here, and we've got this level here. If we break this level, we could have a continuation. We have to watch the immediate high here in case we see this used as exit liquidity. There's likely liquidity resting above this zone, and it could keep us range bound. So you have to watch this high cautiously. If I zoom out a bit, the measurable base target's weak. We have a base before we came up, so that kind of gives you a warning that we're likely going to range here a bit. If we instead had more of an impulsive move, I would feel more likely that this will likely pennant and like have a strong continuation. But we'll see what happens. I guess we'll have we just need to zoom out on this. I haven't done TA on this before, so I gotta do a daily analysis really quick. All right, so we have a macro value area here. We confirmed the exit of the value area during this moment when we came up and got the lower low. So I'm going to pull the value area to that moment. Looks like we got a rejection off the point control and then an exit. We got a little bit of a value area here. And we have downturning momentum here on the daily. And we've got 3 hours left on this daily candle. We might see a break of the momentum. It doesn't mean you take action on anything, but it's a good warning sign of reversal coming up. We have, let's dive into lower time frames. So we deviate a little bit from the value area, and we're trying to get acceptance within the value area through this pennant structure. So if we get the higher high, then we can start seeing us target higher levels like this point of control, while being mindful of these local highs here, right here, and right here. Oh, my bad. So these are all little local levels of resistance along the way, the point of control that you're going to have to watch out for. If we get that higher high, we'll probably spark a move to a rotation to the point of control. Let's see, we got, let's just look at local. There we go. All right. Let's pull this up through here. Price value low. And we're trying to get the acceptance into it now, so. If we get that higher high, I'll start drawing momentum from here to there. Right now, this is what we got. A tweezer reaction off the previous value area low. Gonna try out risk management tool here. Risk to lose, if you got like a $10,000 account, risk to lose 100. Make your fee 0.25 is the average. Take your fee 0.06. But yeah, there's 3 barriers along the way to a target like this, so you got to be very cautious around them. We have the liquidity resting right above here that can cause an SFP. If you like trading SFPs, then just be patient and you might have your opportunity here. But yeah, there's a barrier here, and barrier here at 70, 90, and 79, 74. If you're risking to lose 100 with your stop loss below this strong low over here, then you'd be risking to lose that 100 to gain 493 after fees, other than the funding rate fees. The funding rate fees on Fartcoin might be kind of higher than most assets, so just be a little cautious with that. Especially since I'm pretty sure something like this is going to have a low amount of liquidity on something like MEXC where it's mostly traded. So your limit to volume is probably going to be really low. I'm pretty sure this asset has like an $800 volume limit, or margin limit at least. So trading it's kind of like, yeah, it's more of a spot trader's asset. What else you guys want to look at? We got Bitcoin still chugging along here. Still waiting for it to reach that zone. Kyle, charting from an empty chart is beautiful to see. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. DOT. Well, we did analysis on DOT already, have we not? I'll pull it up just in case. I feel like we did. We'll double check. Oh, I guess not. It says the chart was last looked at on the 5th of February. So let's take a peek. Have we already looked at SNEC? Not yet. So for DOT, I'm still being impatient and I'm waiting for a retest into this zone right here. And nothing's really changed since the last time we looked at it together. It's looking a lot like everything else. Like it's looking just like the other dominance chart. Coiling up. This is a key area of interest here that needs to be broken. Right there. If we see that active support, then we can have a return back above this local resistance potentially right here. But this is a little demand zone that we got to watch out for along the way up if that level does break. And we have this downtrending resistance, this momentum here, that's been weighing us down since the last time we tested the highs of this insanely large range, right? So where DOT is kind of like a perfect spot for an investor who's wanting to hold this for a few months at least for a rotation to the top side of the value area. Like this zone is like almost 200%, right? So you'll very likely double your money here so long as these lows are held. So you want to make sure you're jumping in a position of strength. I know I say it all the time, but we have this negative space we spoke about since we kind of came down here. This downtrending momentum here that's going to weigh us down potentially for another 15 days for this asset. Other assets, it's like 30 days, but it looks like DOT has some relative strength against that. So I think we're going to be range bound a little bit longer. Doesn't mean we won't come up and sweep this high, but I think we're going to be range bound a little bit longer and grab this low before we have the stronger move to the upside. There's lots and lots of liquidity below 7.07, the 4.07 where this orange line is. A huge amount of the weight of liquidity is right below that. So we could get into this reversal zone, wait for the confluence, grab the liquidity, and get that change of character, and then we'll jump in on a trade around there. And that could turn into a swing trade to allow us to hold it to around like these macro highs again. And maybe the next time around, we actually break the range high and get acceptance back above this level into the previous bull market conditions. Because it's been chilling here for 1,000 days. Nuts. So if you're planning on holding this for like a long period of time, this is a good zone to prepare to buy. Sneck is the next request, right? Appreciate you, B. You are very generous. I give you peace of mind in the middle of my chaos situation. Oh, you're in a rough situation? Sorry, man. I hear you. I would just, like, you're the one that requested to look at Fartcoin, so I'm hoping to didn't put too much money into it, man. The meme coins is always insanely high risk. They're the ones that take the most money from new investors. And all the people that are OGs are the ones that have been rug pulled before too in the past, and we kind of learned from it. So we focus mostly on the higher market cap, utility-based assets for slower percentage gains, but larger increased chance of a win, like a higher win rate, right? Okay, so we looked at DOT. Sneck was the other request. And then I gotta head out soon, guys. I'm a little bit over time, and I gotta catch up on some things. So we have Sneck. I think I got a Sneck chart, so let's look at Sneck through that. I'm gonna take a look at Karma too, see how it's doing. We've got, this is a point of interest that we were looking at last time. We never confirmed. We just maintained this downtrending pace into this demand zone that we were eyeballing, right? And now that we're actually finally there, yeah, this is a zone where we want to prepare for a potential reversal. If we lose this zone, Sneck is going to go through a lot of pain because it had a really aggressive pump. Ever since this break of structure here. If we just measure from the break of structure for like the time we'd actually confirm the entry, we moved almost 400%. And we had a like deep correction into this demand zone. So we deviate away from the value area. We confirm this value area as resistance during this candle here. And now this is the momentum. We broke momentum already. So that's a good sign. Zoom in. Yeah, it's looking like Caspa almost. Caspa just had a similar situation where it fell into a demand zone like this. Kind of built the stiletto pattern, right? Aggressive bounce. A slow fall. Broke momentum. Change of character. And now I just want the break of structure confirmation off of this momentum line here. So if we get that higher high, we can use the strong low as our stop loss guard and target the value area low in hopes that we get acceptance in there again so you can hold your trade. But if we get a rejection instead after grabbing that liquidity, then you have your answer. You should take at least some profits off the table. From here to there, you're going to have a decent distance, but remember how quickly things can fall. So like, remember, we fell like over 40% on Sneck in just 10 hours. It could do it again after getting up there. So just be cautious when we grab that liquidity up there. But basically, all you're really waiting for now is for an entry on this is an hourly close above this level right here, 0.004369. And then you can use this strong low as your stop loss guard, assuming that we actually get that higher high break. If not, we might have new structure to use as our core area of interest, but based on its structural behavior, in most case scenarios, like statistically, we would end up going in an uptrend after breaking this level. And we just have to watch these highs along the way up and see how we behave off of them. But SNEC is in a really good position for preparing for a long. Just remember, it's a low market cap asset, so it's going to have crazy percentage drawdowns. So this is like a 6% drawdown, so I don't recommend using leverage. So you can hold these trades without the worry of funding rate fees. And I'm just worried about anyone who's new to leverage. I don't want them getting melted before their stop loss is even hit, right? You got to make sure you're controlling your risk. Whatever you're risking to lose is what you're trying to amplify. So if you're risking to lose 100 when your stop loss is hit, you're going to be trying to aim to gain $450 in this scenario, depending on where it closes. No problem, man. SNEC, we can look at Karma really quick, and then we can look at AR and TET, and then I gotta head out, guys. They're getting listed on Kraken. No idea when, though. Yeah, Kraken might be a little bit... so most exchanges, it's like a 2-week process getting listed in the back end. They got to migrate some of their liquidity over to the exchange. They got to make sure it's enough funds for both the... They're likely going to be doing a stable coin versus SNEC pairing, right? So they'll have to provide both the stablecoin and SNEC worth of liquidity, and it has to be enough to make sure it's stable on their exchange. And then they have to get their price feed set up and all that stuff. So it really does depend on the exchange, but most exchanges is like a 2-week process. So if you're waiting, that's when you can kind of estimate how long it will take. All right, so that was the TET, right? So let's look at TET. What is this thing? Emission token. So it's probably really high emission rate if it's in the name. So we got to watch out for inflationary tokenomics. Oh boy, it's not very frictionless either with these wicks. Just gonna delete this. Okay. Well, we got a little dinosaur here, so we should have most of our data. We got macro downtrending momentum here on the daily. Then we have evolving internal momentum right here that could help us get a potential front run entry. We wicked down to this low. Did we grab? Yeah, we did, eh? We grabbed. Just want to grab the dash line here. So we had a little grab, so we got the inducement for the move to this pump here, and then we kind of just came right back down anyways. And we're still in a downtrend. So I'm just worried about the name of this token. It has emissions right in the name. So I'd recommend looking up the white paper for this asset and finding out what its inflationary rate is. This thing was once worth $46. And it wasn't too long ago. This was in March 2024. So if it has a crazy inflationary rate, that could be impacting its price action. And now we're seeing it in price discovery. So keep an eye out for that. And if it is an emission-based token, find out what its burn rate date is so you can use that in Confluence for long setups. So if you know there's a date that's going to be burning, like PancakeSwap burns every Friday, for example, then it could help you, give you an edge in knowing when to do a long position for this too. I mean, short-term scalp kind of stuff. Now this is like super low market cap, so we have wicks here that are worth 10%. So this wouldn't be something I would trade with leverage. So just be a little cautious with that. We have more internal momentum here. If we go down to the 15-minute time frame, this is our current core area of interest for a long. We see this break and have it act as support at 2899. And then we have to watch the more broad momentum here as a barrier. But again, this is like internal to a bigger momentum level, I believe. Yeah, right here. So we might start feeling some of that negative space as we mitigate some of these supply concerns. But this, if you were to, again, look at the chart here, it's looking a lot like everything else. If you separate that, this doesn't really seem to have relative strength. It's kind of moving along with everything else. And that could be influenced by its pairing liquidity. For example, if it's got a lot of Ethereum liquidity and moves along, it might move alongside with Ethereum's price action. So here we need to see this break, act as support, break a structure, continuation, stop loss guard, target the broad momentum, and while looking at these local highs as well for barrier concerns. But this would be, in a perfect ideal world, a potential front run to a break of this level, where we know a large amount of assets have tons of liquidity stacked above that level. So it could be market maker interest to grab that level up here to confirm a range. Well, that is it for TET. Again, I don't know much about that asset, so just be careful, man. AR USDT was the other one. Okay. So AR Weave, right? Let's look at that on Binance. Did it lose its? Yeah, it did, eh? The last trade we did on AR Weave was this falling wedge. And then we got this double top warning telling us to get out. But now, we kind of lost the demand zone that was below that falling wedge. And came down, and we're starting to get acceptance into this previous valley area right here, which is in itself is kind of like a demand zone as well. So let's see how we're performing here. We zoom in, lower time frames. We basically got a potential form of acceptance here when we came up, hit that valley area high again, and got the lower low. So we might see price action kind of like downtrend its way to the valley area low. However, we do have this here as a point of interest for a reversal. You might be able to front run an entry internally from a double bottom here. If I zoom in a little closer, if you get a pullback, we're starting to generate like a kind of like a head and shoulders behavior. Here, this looks a lot like what's XRP looks like this. Yeah, so XRP lower time frames is looking a lot like this too, I believe. Showing warning signs of sell pressure. So if you get the lower low, a break of this level, break a structure, we can start targeting these extreme lows. And then this could end up being a location to prepare for a long, for a neckline break, for a double bottom recovery. Or we can just maintain this downtrending momentum. So, but this is the core area to kind of like validate a reversal. But right now we're not going to, it's looking like we're not getting that. We keep getting lower lows on our way down towards this point of control. So right now it's looking short-term bearish. But as liquidity stacks more and more above us, guys, it's like positioning us for a move to the upside. Can we look at CRO? Yeah, only because you put 3 E's in please. I will look at CRO for you, man. And then I got to head out. We got in Chronos. OKX. Let's look at it on, yeah. Where do we usually do TA on this thing? I know I've done TA on this before. Okay. Yeah, the double top. That was a huge collapse. This is a definitely a trend trader's asset because it just tends to coil up for these big explosive moves, but you don't get much time to get in on the trade. So we have these downtrending levels of momentum. When they break, they have these impulsive moves with this asset. And like here again, break, massive impulse move. And now we're got again another downtrending momentum right here. So we gotta look for, as we have this downtrend, we gotta look for areas of demand where we could end establishing a form of support to prepare for that reversal. So you don't miss out on it, because I'm sure if we dissected this in the lower time frames, like this one's pretty transparent. This downtrending level of resistance, when it broke, you had a very transparent entry telling you that the script has been flipped and that we're going to be having a massive move to the upside, because we had this range established here where you can just generate a value area. This is daily range. It doesn't look like much, but the percentage is still about 4% gap. And then we had a pullback of at least 2 candles and then a higher high break of structure, validating this downtrending level resistance as a form of support, and that we're leaving this value area. You probably wouldn't think that it would go straight up like this. Immediately I would look at to the left and see this as a barrier concern. But we had a regression trend there, and then we managed to break that regression trend to the upside. But here, explosive move, barely had time, at least in the daily structure. But now we are approaching the previous levels of resistance right here that could be established as support and allow us to break this momentum again. The negative space between there and now is about 30 days. So kind of like the same momentum negative space that we're looking at with most assets, other than like DOT. Like DOT had like that 15-day relative strength. And again, like a little stiletto pattern again. So we have the harsh drop, pullback, slow drop, compiling liquidity through the order flow, so which gives us a higher increased chance of going to the upside. So we need to break this downtrending resistance, which we have. We got a pullback, and now we're just trying to establish this little neckline here as support, which is really messy price action. A safer bet, even though it's a little bit further away, I'd want to see this break act as support and then target this local high right here. But like this is why I love trading crypto, because like you always have these scenarios where everything kind of looks the same, right? But they all have unique stop loss guards. They'll all have unique little points of interest, but they'll all kind of have like the same kind of structural target. So you just pick the one that has the least amount of barriers, the better stop loss percentage drawdown, and the best risk to reward ratio. And whatever one looks the easiest is the one you take every single time. So you don't have to babysit it at relative areas of weakness, right? Because every area is going to have kind of roughly unique liquidity that can be used as exit liquidity for investors. So again, everything's looking like this. So kind of pick the ones that are the easiest for you to trade. You don't need to fight for your money. You can try to make it as easy as possible. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it for CRO. It looks like it's getting positioned for potential short-term reversal, just like everything else. I'm curious. I'm going to pull a fib from this low to this high here. That boxed my zone. And we kind of already tested this zone. And the golden pocket to the 786. So we dip down here. So whenever you dip down here, I normally would look for the internal change of character for a long, and then watch your barriers. And we dip down here again. This is our level right here. So like a front run level. This is the area you definitely want to be cautious around right here. But we're potentially building an ascending triangle, which basically tells us that the buyer's momentum is like maintain the same pace, but there is sellers selling with most likely a giant sell wall. It could be one actor, like a market maker, selling their position. And when you see the sell wall is gone in the order books, then you know the next time we test that level, we're likely going to break through it. So I would watch Chronos in the order books if you have a good order book for it. Not many altcoins have a very good order book, but if you use something like Ethereum or Bitcoin, it's very easy to find very good order books. But with the altcoins, it's a little bit tricky. You normally have to depend on the native exchange order books, and they're just a shit show, so you can't really use them. They're manipulated. So that's pretty much it for this, man. Do you guys have any quick questions before I gotta head out? Yay or nay? Just gonna do a quick zoom through the chat. I think I got everything. All right, guys, I gotta head out. You guys have yourself an amazing day. I really, really appreciate everyone who's jumped on and everyone who's subscribed. Thank you a lot for your help. I'm new to the YouTube game, but I'm getting better and better. And I appreciate everyone who likes and follows and all that stuff. I have a new potential plan for Thursdays for lives, and I'll let you guys know about that very soon. But I'll probably be doing lives very soon on Thursdays as well. And it'll be structured a little bit differently. It'll be mostly about teaching and the education of trading to help you guys learn how to do this on your own kind of thing. All right, guys, you have yourself an amazing day, and I appreciate you joining.